Hi guys, welcome to Q3 and our mid-year reset. Cheers. Okay guys, we are walking into July and we're getting ready for Q3. Can you believe it? Q3 of 2025. Wow, so this is actually our mid-year reset. And I usually start these off talking about what I did to reset. Well, actually it's going to be what I'm doing. I'm actually getting ready for our vacation that we're going to take in July to go to France. So that is going to be my way of resetting, recharging, and doing all those things to kind of refresh to walk into this quarter. So that's what I'm doing to reset for the 12-week year. Let's talk about contextualizing where we are in the 12-week year. We are starting fresh. We're starting a new quarter, which is super duper exciting. Gives us that kind of new year, new me energy without it having to be an actual new year because we're using periods, not yearly sort of way of planning and looking at our goals. And specifically Q3 is all about rooting down. So Q1, we decided on the seed. Q2, we planted the seed, like we got busy at what we decided was working, what we're actually going to pursue. And Q3 is about really rooting down and honing in on how we're going to get to those moon goals, those actual midterm 1 to 3 year goals using our 12-week year. So that's what Q3 is all about. It's about rooting down and going deeper. So as we go through this, I'm hoping you can plan with me. If you have my modAmbition planner physical, or if you have my modAmbition planner printable, pull that out, or wherever you do your 12-week year, your quarterly planning, pull that out and plan along with me. I have my laptop here, which is what I'm looking at. I'm referring to keep me on track. So last time I did one of these, it got pretty chatty. It was super long. So I'm going to try to keep myself on track. And then I'm also looking down here at my planner, and here is my computer for like my agenda, what I want to go over with you guys. So pull out your planner and let's get to planning. First, let's talk about how I did last quarter, how you did last quarter as well. Let's look back at Q2 goals. I will put this up on the screen, but you can see here is what I'm going to be looking at. I already kind of assessed how I did last quarter. So I have my quarterly goals here where I brainstormed them, and then they're all nice and pretty in my Notion 12-week year template, which if you're interested will be linked down below. But we're going to go over the paper version today. My first quarterly goal Q2 was by Q3, write 45K words and read 2 success books. I read so many books this quarter because as part of the 75 medium challenge that I started this quarter, reading is a part of that. So it just got me to be even more consistent, even like reading on the weekends and stuff. So definitely read the success books, and I wrote the 45K words. So even though that's a check, I will give the caveat. I don't know how much of those 45K words I'm actually going to use, because I think I've mentioned this on this channel. I'm going in like a redirection of how I want to write the book based on not only more research that I'm doing on what I'm writing about, which I don't want to give away fully, but also based on my community's problems and solving that in a book that's actually valuable and helpful, not just what I want to write about. So that might be changing, but I did write them. So the next 3 are all about expanding my business, my yearly goal of expanding my business, moving me closer to that. So by Q3, reached 25K on YouTube. I put an X, but I also wrote almost with a happy face because at the time of recording this, I'm about 24,000 subscribers. So if you're not subscribed, you could really help me out if you just click subscribe below. I am almost there. That was my quarterly goal, to get to 25K on YouTube. I'm very happy with the growth. I did not reach my email subscriber list goal of reaching 20K for email subs. So if you want to sign up for my newsletter, I will put that below. I've gotten much better at being consistent at my newsletter. I've gotten so many replies from you guys noticing and saying how valuable it is. So you will help me out if you sign up, but you'll also get something for yourself. My second quarterly goal towards expanding my business was consistent content. And I reached all of those but the community posts. So I posted 1 time per week on YouTube. I did my weekly newsletter, as I just mentioned, and I finished those email sequences that I've been wanting to finish for so long to add value to my welcome sequence. The 2 to 5 community posts did not get done, and And I talked about this in my last Plan With Me video, how I actually moved that goal to once or twice a month because it was just unrealistic. And we want our SMART goals to be realistic. I may bump that up again once I get a little bit more support, and I'll talk about that in a second. Third quarterly goal towards expanding my business is to develop my business by doing April live workshop. That was a check. Improving my course, Systemize Your Goals, which I was able to do, and creating my home management Notion template. I actually didn't put that on the market. I only offered that as a part of my April live workshop because I'm going to include it in a bundle that I'm creating. So I'm holding off on offering that to the public, but I did create it. And then towards my yearly goal of showing up as my highest self. And as you should probably know, when I mention my yearly goals, they're all a little bit vague because I don't want to put them on the internet exactly because I want to keep them a little bit private. So if you're like, wow, her yearly goals are really vague, that's why. So showing up as my highest self. By Q3, highest self progress. So continued family present time, check. Using our behavior board, which is this like positive reinforcement chart that I'm using with my kids to help shape positive behaviors. We've been doing that consistently, using their routine boards, increasing their reading and my reading, and then continuing our home and health routines. I think I'm actually going to do away with that as a goal because my home and health routines that I added for this year are pretty set in stone. So I'm checking them off, but they're pretty habitual right now. Okay, so that's how I did on my Q2 goals. Take a look at your own and see how you did. So I just added my refill packet, which I'll add to the appropriate months. But if you have the modAmbition planner, you have the option to get refills of the monthly, weekly, and daily planning pages for each quarter. So I just added mine in here. So this begins with my word of the year, which is breakthrough. So I like to remind myself beginning of each quarter, kind of revisit that, look at my vision board again. And for me, how does this word continue to support my goals for this year? I wrote down reaching new heights and breaking barriers. So think about your word of the year. How is it applying to this quarter? It may have changed the way you look at it from at this point of the year, which I always think is so, so cool. And then also let's look at our yearly goals and how much progress we made. So at this point, ideally for most goals, you can think about it in this way. I want to be about at the halfway point for most of my yearly goals because we're halfway through the year. That won't always work for every single type of goal, but in general, that's a good rule of thumb to use. So about 50%. So finishing my book, I have a little button that I wrote next to it, hold, because I am putting this goal on hold for Q3. So not every quarterly goal you're going to have time to work on each quarter. So you kind of want to decide when you're going to work on them. Q3 is packed for me, which we'll talk about. So I'm putting it on hold for this quarter, but I am about 50% of the way there as far as what I want to have done up until this point for the book. I've done a lot of research. I've developed my framework for the book. I've sort of redirected myself. So I'm happy with that progress. When it comes to expanding my business goal, which I put in quotes because it's like a vague version of my actual goal, I'm about 60% there, meaning I'm more than where I want to be. I've been blessed in business this year and growth this year. I have already been breaking through so much. And so I'm actually further than I thought I would be when it comes to my business goal. And the same thing for showing up as my highest self. That has been going really well this year, simply just because I've had more time. I'm not juggling working a full-time job and running my business. I am largely focused on running my business, and I'm working contractually part-time as a neuropsychologist. So that has reduced those hours substantially. So it allowed me to show up more as my higher self. So rate yourself. How have you done on your yearly goals? Then I probably won't show this, but I do my yearly plan. So my year at a glance I look at and my yearly planner. So basically, you can see this. This is July, August, and September, so I can see the quarter at a glance. I look at that, I put in important dates, I put birthdays, vacations, launch schedule when Layla is starting kindergarten. So when I'm planning each month, I can look to this for like those major dates that I need to remember while planning my month. That's my yearly planner, the Q3 page. And then I also look at my year at a glance page. This is largely what I use for business, but I do have some family stuff on on there for vacation. So it has all the months of the year. And basically I have an idea of what I want to launch, things that I'm working on, email campaigns, that kind of thing. I look at that as well when I look at my yearly goals. If you want this sort of year at a glance yearly planner, those are both included in my year at a glance free PDF download. So I'll link that down for you below if you're interested in it. And I just added it to my planner. So I looked at that. And then I also score my metrics that matter, the monthly ones that I track. So take some time to kind of do that big bird's eye planning for the quarter, and then also tracking your metrics that are important for the last quarter that you track on a quarterly basis. Okay, so let's jump into planning this quarter. Let's first look at our intention for this quarter. For my intention, I put to recharge and also show up / go time, which are juxtaposed but make sense in my head, so to speak. So for recharge is because we are going to be going to France for an extended vacation. We're going to go to Paris in the south of France to visit my husband's family and to just like vacation. And so that's going to be my recharging time. I'll be working a little bit on like a passion project, probably like during nap times and things like that, but it's nothing like that I have to do. I have pre-recorded a lot of videos so I can still show up consistently, but I really plan to just like unplug, reset, read, go to the pool, hopefully come back darker skinned and well fed for you guys. I do still plan on doing my 75 medium challenge while I'm out of town, so still working out, eating on my diet, reading, those sorts of things, which would probably be easier to do on vacation. And then the show up go time is because I actually have 2 launches this quarter. So if you know the way that I run my business, I like to go on pace mode 80% of the time, just regular content, regular routines, and then 20% of the quarter, so 4 times a year, show up a little bit harder. I'm going live more, I'm posting on social more, I'm kind of just sprinting and sharing what I have to offer that can hopefully solve someone's problem. So I'm actually doing that twice in this quarter because in Q4 I'm not doing any type of launch or promotional campaign at all. I'm going to reserve that for like family, vacation, you know, getting ready for the new year, all that kind of stuff. So that's where it comes in, the show up and the go time. So what's your intention for this quarter? Moving on to excited for. This quarter I'm excited for so much. I'm excited for our France trip, family members' birthdays like my brother and father-in-law. I'm launching some new products that I'm so excited about. I also have a surprise that's coming in my business that I don't want to share just yet. And my daughter starts kindergarten this quarter, which is bittersweet. And if you're a mom, you know what I mean. I was just looking at baby pictures, but she's starting kindergarten. She's super excited. She's going to a school that's different than her pre-K, so she's going to have to make all new friends. So she's a little bit nervous about that, but I feel like you're so resilient at that age. She'll be able to make friends quickly, and she's a chatty patty social kid, so I think she's going to be fine. What are you excited for this quarter? All right, let's talk about our wins. This helps us double down on what's working. So my wins for last quarter, I had increased revenue in my business. I had increased email signups, had a really good April live workshop that I did. I had a lot of people show up. I had increased views on my channel. I mean, God has been so good. And I've also been showing up to do the work. Layla graduated from pre-K. My mom is still cancer free, so she had to do more testing and still is coming up cancer free, which is such a blessing. I had a really nice Mother's Day. I made the decision to go full-time in my business, so I will be moving away from even doing contracted work with the company I used to work for soon as a neuropsychologist and only be working for myself as a neuropsychologist. 75 medium challenge went really well and I've been losing weight, which is part of one of my personal goals. And we also went to Texas. I got to see my family. We stayed for almost a week. I'll put in pictures. It was really good. I got to celebrate my cousin's birthday, my brother's birthday, Father's Day. So that was really, really nice. So what were your wins from last quarter? And more importantly, from those wins, what do you think you want to double down on? All right, so let's talk about our lessons from last quarter. Our wins teach us what we want to double down on, and our lessons teach us what we maybe need to course correct and think about some solutions. So lessons for me last quarter were my daughter's hair journey. I talked about that in my last Plan With Me video. I won't go into it too much here, but really learning how to affirm her as a biracial child and having curly hair and having different hair than me or her dad, and also all her peers. Teach her how to love her hair. We're working on it. It has been getting better, I'm happy to report. And me myself, like embracing my natural hair so she can, right now I have like on a bust down, but embracing my natural hair when I can, like in between me like putting on a unit or something, so she can see me loving myself, not just telling her to do it and I'm not doing it myself. And then also giving her the option, you know, when you're grown up, if you want to wear a protective style or you want to change your hair, that's the beauty of being a Black girl or a girl, period. You can do what you want to do. So that's been going good. I also learned some important lessons from the last time I did a live workshop, some tweaking that I want to do, some ways to make it more engaging. I also learned the lesson of not waiting to get help and just being cheap. This is something that I talk to my clients about, so I need to practice what I preach. I invested in a YouTube program to help me learn how to make better videos, to get more of my content to more viewers, those kinds of things. And doing it by myself, there was an option to do it by myself and also get coaching. And I chose to do it by myself because it was the less expensive option. And then I was doing so well with just on my own. I'm like, imagine if I was getting feedback. So this program, it's 5 figures. So it's not just YouTube help, it's also business help. So just kind of making the plunge. And I'm so glad that I made the decision to actually sign up for the full program, where it's not just on myself, but also getting feedback and getting like direct coaching has been so helpful on the YouTube side, but also on the business side, and just not feeling like I'm by myself. So that was definitely a lesson this quarter. And ironically, my husband, who's usually cheaper than me, he's in the next room, encouraged me to just take the plunge. And usually he's the one that is more frugal. Also addressing limiting beliefs. So I had this idea for something I wanted to talk about in YouTube videos and offer and in my emails. And I'm like, kind of had some imposter syndrome about who am I to sort of talk about these things. Then I realized I'm already helping clients behind the scenes with this thing. I'm not sharing it yet because I'm going to talk about it later, not in this video, but soon to come as part of the surprise. But I'm already helping folks with this and getting results behind the scenes, and I'm doing it for myself. Like, I had to address those limiting beliefs that were stopping me and saying, I can only be this one thing. I can only talk about this one thing, and being able to like expand myself. Not too much, actually. It's still all about productivity and getting things done intentionally, but kind of in a different, more specific realm, which you'll probably see soon. Those were my lessons from last quarter. What were yours? All right, turning the page, on our back page, let's talk about mantra for this quarter. So the mantra that I wrote for this quarter is, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. This was a Bible verse actually that helped me a lot when I was giving birth. I had both of my kids naturally, like no dural or anything, and I had like cards with different Bible verses, and this was one of my favorites. And why it's a mantra for this quarter is because doing 2 live workshops this quarter, 2 launches this quarter, sharing myself, putting myself out there, that's going to take a lot of energy from me as an introvert. But I'm also really excited because I think it's going to simplify how I'm able to help people, and it's also going to just simplify my life once I get these things out there. So I am excited. I also have a lot of free stuff because I always have a mission of being a blessing to ambitious women, and I don't want that to be just people that can buy my offerings. So the workshops I'm pouring into, I'm writing new workshops so that they're fresh and people are still excited, and that regardless if you come to the workshop and decide to continue working with me or not, you can get a lot of value. So all that takes a lot of work, takes a lot of energy, but I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. What could be a good mantra for you this quarter with what you have coming up? And then it's also always important to sort of funnel our energy and to prioritize. So my priorities this quarter, I put in hearts the personal ones: going to France or our vacation, celebrating the family's birthdays, and supporting my best friend. Her father just passed away. Even though I'm not there in Texas with her, I want to be as supportive as I can from afar. So that's definitely a priority this quarter. And also Layla starting kindergarten, which I didn't write. Then for my other goals, my launches obviously are a priority this quarter. Product development and personal development are going to be priorities this quarter as well. What I'm saying yes to this quarter, I'm saying yes to rest, I am saying yes to a sustainable hustle, and I'm saying yes to support. So even though I do have a lot of endeavors that are going to require a lot from me, I still want to do it in a sustainable way. I still want to practice what I preach, and I am going to be bringing on another team member to help me in my business. So that's going to help me with support. Going to be getting a lot of rest on vacation for almost 3 weeks, and then just sticking to my sustainable hustle. So for yourself, think about what are your priorities this quarter, and also think about what you're saying yes to this quarter. And that leads us to what we're saying no to this quarter. I'm saying no to limiting beliefs and being controlled by fear. So I talked a little bit about those limiting beliefs of imposter syndrome trying to keep me in a box. No. And fear, I just like anxiety is usually my go-to. So I have to kind of check that because it's so natural for me to be anxious. Although I've been feeling pretty good, I would say, in the past couple months. So pat on the back. We're, feeling the fear and doing it anyway, not letting it control my life. What are you saying no to this quarter? Okay, so now that we have done the conscious work, we've looked at our year at a glance, we looked at our quarter at a glance, we've thought about our yearly goals and what we're moving towards, what we need to also account for from last quarter. Now we can move into actually brainstorming our quarterly goals. So I brainstorm here in my paper planner, and then once I have them refined, I move them over to my Notion template. So today I want to share with you what I brainstormed in my modAmbition planner. So I have 2 business goals that are going towards my yearly goal of expanding my business. One is regarding my YouTube subs. Overarching goal there is to reach 50K on YouTube. Big goal, but we're going to push towards. And I'm going to do that by posting 1 video per week. Once I get more support, keyword, once I get more support, the key phrase, 1 community post per week on YouTube. I'm also going to be doing 2 live workshops this quarter, one in August, which is going to be my Productive Boss live workshop, teaching you how to get organized in your business and teaching you how to build systems in your business to stay consistent in your business and have more time away from your business. And then I have another live workshop at the end of September, which I will wait to give away that title, but I think you're going to like it. Just look out for the Productive Boss workshop. If you're on my email newsletter, you'll be able to get the sign up because there's some good freebies that go with if you sign up for that workshop. Also, for expanding my business, I do have revenue goals, which I didn't put on here specifically because it's kind of like I'm never the one to talk about those kinds of things on the internet. But I want to launch my new products that I have in the works that I'm working so hard on, and I'm super excited. And I'm saying products here, but they're more solutions. I'm thinking of them, and they're ways of making sure you're getting the results, but that's the easiest way to find it, is products. Then also reaching 20,000 subs in my newsletter. I think I'm about 12K now, and I'm just going to be doing 1 newsletter a week, staying super consistent, working on my subject lines, providing good value in my newsletter. And then also hiring my new team member, and I'm also going to be contracting a copywriter to help me with some of the automations that I'm going to be doing during my workshops to get you guys those freebies and all the good stuff that comes with a live workshop. So those are my 2 12-week year goals that I've brainstormed so far for my business goals. Like I said, I'm putting my book yearly goal on hold for this quarter so I can focus on these other ones. And then I have my highest self goals. I have one for body wellness, family, and spirituality. For body wellness, I have finished my 75 medium challenge and consistent with my supplements. I just added in creatine, which I put in with my AG1 green using the momentous one. And that's going towards my weight goals. For family, our France trip, being present there, and then modifying my schedule for school pickup. So I'm going to have to be even more productive because I have to end my day around probably like 2:30 to go pick up my daughter from school. And then for spirituality, I want to finish the devotional that I'm working on, 100 Days of Believing, and I probably will buy it again. It's so good, like so good, and do it again. I want to increase my meditation to 30 minutes meditation per day because it's just so good for me and my mental health. And then I want to track my OCD symptoms and look for a new therapist. I think I mentioned I had to change insurances, and it's so hard to find a therapist that specializes in OCD, like specifically the type that I struggle with, because I don't struggle with like contamination OCD or those sort of intrusive thoughts. I'm actually quite messy person without my systems, I should say, and some of the other ones. So you have to actually know the different types to be able to help me. So I'm going to be tracking things if anything is popping up. I also have a mild version version. So as long as I'm like taking care of, feeling well, not sleep deprived, I usually don't even have a lot of symptoms. So that's why I want to track it to see how it's going, because I haven't really felt like I've been dealing with it a lot, but it's one of those things that you might not be aware of, but somebody else can point it out to you and continue looking for a new therapist. So those are my quarterly 12-week goals. What are yours? Take some time to write yours down as well. Okay, guys, those are my quarterly goals. Those are my Q3 goals. We're ready for this next quarter, this next 12-week year. I'm wishing you the best with all your goals. Cheers to planning, manifesting, and enjoying your dream life. Namaste.